Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining today's session. We are going to start very soon. In 5 minutes, we would start the session. Thank you very much for joining early. So we're just waiting for others to join. And as soon as we have a good number, in 5 minutes, we would start the session. Once again, thank you very much for joining. We have more people joining the call. The number is growing, so we would just give them a few more minutes to settle in, and then we'll start the session by 11:05. Thank you very much for joining. Please, can you hear me? Can any of the attendees indicate by sending a message if they can hear? Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you very much. So we are audible. It's going to be an interesting session. So thank you very much for joining us. We promise you that it's a good Friday. So we'll start in 1 minute. You would leave the session as a cybersecurity expert today. That's our mission for today. So by 11:05, we would get started. Please, we would like if you can drop in the comment section where you are joining us from, your location. Just mention the name of your estate, your community. We would like to know where you're joining us from. Thank you as you do that. If you are joining us from the Bahamas, it's okay to mention. Okay, we are starting now. So Good morning and welcome, distinguished guests, valued customers, partners, and members of the public. On behalf of ipNX Nigeria Limited, your preferred internet service provider for fast and reliable internet service, I'm delighted to welcome you to the third edition of our Safer Internet Day commemoration webinar, themed Smart Tech, Smart Choices, Exploring the Safe and Responsible Use of AI. My name is Adeyemi Akitunde Taiwo, Head of ipNX Retail Sales, and it is my pleasure to host you today. This year's theme is particularly timely as artificial intelligence and digital technologies continue to transform how we live, work, and do business. The need for safe, responsible, and ethical adoption has never been more critical. Today's conversation is designed to empower our diverse audience, individual users, small business owners, large corporations, and the wider public with insights that promote informed decision-making, security awareness, and sustainable innovation. We are honored to be joined by two highly distinguished speakers. Our first speaker, our keynote speaker, Dr. Samuel Mbonu, is a respected authority in cybersecurity and digital governance with deep expertise spanning cybersecurity strategy, IT architecture, threat intelligence, predictive analytics, cloud technologies, forensics, and IT risk management. He also serves as an advisor to boards and business leaders on leveraging cyber-enabled business models responsibly. Dr. Samuel will help us understand the risk, opportunities, and governance considerations surrounding AI adoption. Our second speaker, Mr. Najite Ikotegbe, my most favorite colleague, is the divisional CEO of the Managed Network Services Division of ipNX and a seasoned technology leader with over 2 decades of experience in telecommunications, enterprise connectivity, and digital service operations. His work in designing and managing large-scale connectivity platforms brings a practical and operational lens to today's discussion, particularly around deploying emerging technologies safely, ethically, and reliably for long-term value. We are confident that today's session will be insightful, practical, and impactful, reinforcing our shared responsibility to build a safer and more trustworthy digital ecosystem. Thank you for joining us and welcome once again to this year's Safer Internet Day webinar. Before we start, I would like to quickly tell you a short story. So usually when we want to select speakers for these webinars, we are very deliberate and intentional about it. So we conduct short interviews, right? So I contacted for Mr. Najite, that was a given. I know his background, so I know that it's a given that it can be very valuable for today's webinar. But I reached out to Mr. Sam. I haven't read his profile on LinkedIn. And even though we had worked together in the past, I had to do this. So I called him, we had discussions, and immediately I realized that he is the right keynote speaker for our audience. But right before I ended that interview, I asked one last question. Usually, most of us will just go ahead and answer this question. But for him, he told me, Akitunde, sorry, I cannot answer this question. I'm not allowed to answer your question. Now, I know what you're thinking now. What you're thinking is, even if we can't know the question, the answer, can we at least know the question you asked him? But I would like to tell you that even that one is now classified, right? I can't tell you that question. But when he gave me that response, saying that he cannot disclose, he can't provide me an answer, I immediately realized that he's not just the right keynote speaker, he's actually the best keynote speaker for today's theme and topic. So, Dr. Sam Mbonu, thank you very much for joining us. I'm yielding the floor to you now to carry on with your presentation. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much for having me. I want to start by asking if you all can hear me clearly. Can you hear me? Okay, great. Secondly, can you see my screen? Can someone respond if you can see my screen? Is it visible?
Yes, yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Akitunde and the entire ipNX team. I'm excited to be doing this, right? Having, worked at ipNX as the first tech uh, engagements in my career life, I can say that whatever I've been able to achieve in the tech space today, I can attribute it to the little beginning at ipNX. ipNX was the very first platform where I was given the opportunity in the tech space. So I want to say thank you to the entire ipNX team. I'm a product of ipNX. I'm an ambassador of ipNX. Everywhere I am, anywhere I go to, I say it everywhere, all over. This is about 23 years after the first time, right, when I got into ipNX as a young boy, where I was doing my CWAS program then, the 6 months compulsory CWAS program that you have to complete as an engineering student. And ipNX gave me the opportunity, right, to do that. I want to also mention a name. I know she thinks Sade, yes, the head of HR then. She actually gave me that opportunity. I didn't know anybody there. I just walked in and I said, look, I want to do this. And then she looked at my resume and then she said, oh, why not? I started the next day, right? And the rest is story. So I want to say thank you again to the team and also having to share a session like this with Najite. I also don't take it, lightly. I don't take it for granted. So thank you so very much. So I'm going to go straight into it. I know Kitide did a very good job with the introduction. And when he was introducing and then saying all the things about me, I'm like, oh, is this actually me? Right? But I've been there. I've done cybersecurity for a while now, over 20 years, cutting across different industry, cutting across different continents of the world. And then even to the level of, from an educational perspective, I've got PhD in cybersecurity. So I think there's a lot to share, right? So I'll just go straight into it. The first slide, then it's why this conversation matter. Why are we talking about you know, this. Why, are we talking about the smart tech, safe choices, exploring the safe and responsible use of AI? Why do we really have to do all of this? And I put up some of these stats here, right? AI impact is growing very fast, right? AI is impacting everybody, is impacting everything, whether from an individual perspective, from an corporate organizations perspective, from a nation perspective, from a continent perspective, even the entire world is impacted by AI. I'm sure you hear a lot about AI everywhere, all over. It's become a buzzword. Everybody uses the word AI here, AI there, right? So it's important that we talk about this, right? How can we ensure that we use AI responsibly? Like there's this slogan they always say, drink, but drink responsibly, right? So use AI, use it responsibly. So why must we use AI responsibly? Now, some of the few stats that I have here, by 2030, right, in a couple of, years from now, about 4 years from now, AI could contribute up to 15.7 trillion to the global economy. That is huge, right? The current global economy, it's about, $155 trillion, right? Now imagine AI contributing 15.7. That is huge. In fact, the GDP of the top two economy, the top two country, all over the world has the GDP that is higher than this number you see here. And that's attributed, to Japan and as well to the United States of America. So aside that, every other country, AI contribution to the global economy is greater than the, nominal GDP of all other countries if you look at it at this time. So 70% of businesses report they already use AI in some form. Even individuals use AI. I'm going to put up a poll just after this, right, to ask a few questions. Let's even see how you're using the AI. Do you even realize that you're using it? Right? Those are the questions. Did you also know that AI impact is growing fast? More data has been created in the last 2 years than in the entire history of mankind. The entire history of mankind, imagine that the last 2 years, the volume of data that were created, it's more compared to what it has been from inception, right? So it's data all over the place. Data has been generated every now and then, be it structured, unstructured, whatever kind of data you can think about. As we are on this call, right? As we are on this webinar, data is being generated, right? For instance, the webinar is recorded, right? Data is being stored somewhere. Data is being transformed somewhere. Data is being transmitted somehow. As I'm talking to you in the comfort of my home, data is being exchanged, right? You can see me, you can hear me. That is data being transmitted, data being, exchanged. So that is a fundamental part, right, of the global volume of data that is generated today. I'm sure there are people on this call that are from everywhere all over the world, right? I know there are people from different continents, everybody connected, people talking, generating data through social media and all of that. So AI, it matters, and we need to really, really talk about it. Can you put up the first poll, please? Can we put up the first poll? So I will ask that, we respond to this poll, right? Please let's respond to this poll. And there are a few questions there, right? The first one, how often do you use AI-powered tools? Be it ChatGPT, be it Copilot, Gemini, the AI filters, Siri, all the different, AI power tools. How often do you use them? Right?
So
That's the first one.
the poll is currently on your screen.
Yes.
So I'm talking to the participants, the attendees. The poll is already on your screen. You can check out for the poll and just provide an answer quickly. Thank you.
Yes. And I know there are two of them, but they should just provide answer to number one, right now. The first one, right? Provide the answers to the first one. We'll come back to the second one. How often do you use AI power tools? Is it ChatGPT? Is it Copilot? Is it Gemini? Is it AI filters? Is it Siri? All the different AI power tools that you can even think about. How often do you use it? Is it daily, a few minutes, a few times a week? Is it occasionally? Even if you're not sure, if I use AI, you can just put the answer there. So we'll give it 1 or 2 more minutes and then I'll continue with the slide.
Are we done with the poll? Can we share the Dr. Sam, how do you want us to share the
Yeah, can you share the results? Yes, please go ahead, share the results.
Okay. Can we do that?
Okay, great. I can see that about 62% says they use it daily, right? 20% says a few times a week. 18% says occasionally, and then 0% says they are not sure if they use AI. So I really love this response, right? So everybody was sure we're using AI, right? So which is good. And that goes to say that The AI awareness is very good with the audience that we have on this call. So 62% use AI daily. That is great. So let's talk about, the different use cases, for AI. Great. Now, AI is everywhere today, right? Be it in your phone, in your apps, in your workplaces, in your homes. And I'm sure we'll have enough time to really deep dive into each of those different, options that we've highlighted with which we use AI as we continue in this presentation, right? For instance, in your homes, your smart TVs, your Netflix. I can tell you that there are a lot of things happening, that you see being posted to you using AI on YouTube, TV, your, smart TVs, all of that. Or you have wearables, some of you have wearables, the IoT devices, that you use all over the place. AI is actually the bedrock of most of the data and information that is posted to you, shaping how we communicate, how we work, how we make decisions. AI is doing all of that. Like I'll tell you, for instance, most organizations today that have adopted AI, when they ask them the number of employees they have, they include the robots as well. They report the robots as employees, right? That is to tell you that now humans and machines are interacting. Humans and machines are colleagues, right? I can tell you in the next few years, right, you have colleagues that are machines, you have colleagues that are robots, right? That will share seats with you, that will share emails with you. That is going to happen. That's even already happening, right? But with opportunity comes responsibility. As AI is evolving, as we're seeing the value of AI, we also want to make sure that we use it responsibly. AI can help us, it can also harm us, right? AI can harm us. And it's the harming part that I really want us to emphasize on as we continue this presentation. Safety depends on how we use it, right? Everything that is good, if you don't use it responsibly, right, you are definitely going to abuse it. Now, there's a saying by Dr. Miles Monroe of blessed memory. He said, if purpose is not defined, right, abuse is inevitable. So if you do not know why you're using a thing or you're doing what you're doing, you are very much likely to abuse it. So that is why this awareness on AI is important, so that you have an idea of why am I using this AI? Why do I, what are the tenets? What are the protocols? What are the, modus operandi? How should I engage with AI? It also helps us to get smarter, and then we make safer digital choices. AI brings on board a lot of value, right? And most times it's actually today's goal. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody wants to use it. The next slide, right? So some of the examples of AI you already use today, voice assistants like Siri. Some of you have Siri in your homes, right? Or your smart TVs. You say, Siri, turn on the TV, right? And it puts it on. That's a robot you are engaging with. Or you say, Siri, can you increase the volume of, can you increase the volume by 3? Serial increases. That is AI. You're talking to a machine and is responding to you. That is the power of AI. My children, they love to use it a lot at home, right? They want, in fact, every time they don't use the remote anymore. They don't use the remote. They use Siri for every engagement, with the television set, recommendation of Netflix, YouTube, Spotify, all of those recommendations, they are coming from AI. For instance, you see that you type in something on your WhatsApp, right? The next thing you begin to see, you see adverts related to that on Facebook. That is the power of AI. That is the power of AI, because those data are being churned, right? And they're posing to you opportunities and values that, can be driven. Fraud alerts from banks, right? There are a lot of, alerts, back end, um, fraud management system that banks have today. They are able to, identify fraud, leveraging a lot on AI, smart spam filters on email, right? That's also leveraging a lot on AI, because the data volume has increased, it has expanded. Human cannot match it. There is no number of human you can have that can churn the volume of data that we have today. And that is why AI must be used, must be adopted. In your workplaces, at school, use AI writing tools. You can use AI to write your emails. You can use AI to, write even theses, dissertations, right? You use AI a lot, right? But then there are protocols to using those, right? If you don't use it responsibly, there can be flagging of plagiarism, for instance, as a student, if you use AI, right? Data analysis, with AI and all of that. Face recognition on smartphones. Today, you don't even use thumbprint anymore on your smartphone, or you don't type in your password anymore. You don't punch in your password, but with your face recognition, you have access to your smartphone. All of that has to do with the adoption of AI. AI helps us to save time. We work smarter with AI. We make better decisions with AI. It improves customer service. It solves complex problems. For businesses, automation and efficiency, there is no human that can match AI. No, no way. If you put a human and AI side by side, there's no human that can match AI, especially from a position of automation and speed, right? No human can be as fast as a machine, right? But it is important to also highlight that we are not using AI alone, right? We have to ensure that as we use AI, the human element also comes into play, in the entire use case opportunity. Better insight from data provided through AI. There's improved service delivery using AI. But AI also comes with risk. And this part is also very important to us. Fake news and deep fakes, online scams and fraud, right? You see, all of these, they are growing, right? They are really, really growing. There's a lot of fake news all over the place. And the reason why you have all of that easily is because the bad guys are also using AI. As much as we are using AI responsibly, the bad guys are also using AI unethically, right? So they use it to project fake news and deepfakes. I'm sure you've seen in the news recently about one of the senators in Nigeria that was in a particular situation with a lady in a private jet, and he was all over the place. But the first response was, "This is AI generated, right?" So if you don't pay attention to these things, right, even if it's right, we could claim that it's AI. Even if it is wrong, we could claim that we don't even know whether it's AI or not. So you can see that there is a good side and there is a bad side for it. Online scams and fraud is growing tremendously because AI is being adopted by the cyber criminals. I can say this critically to you. There are AI-enabled malwares today. AI-triggered viruses, trojans, malwares all over the place. There is identity theft. People's identity are being stolen, right? Your face, someone can, with AI generate, your face, and it will look exactly like you. you know so you need to understand the power of identity theft, when cyber criminals leverage unethically on AI. There's bias or unfair decisions with AI. I talked about the deepfake audios, the video scams. You see all of that. It has increased by over 900% in the last 2 years. Why? Because the bad guys are leveraging on AI. Online safety, risk linked to AI. More than 60% of organizations reported that attackers use AI tools to launch cyber attacks. I said this earlier. Imagine this. Over 60% of organizations are reporting that, look, these guys are attacking us using AI tools. So the same AI that you're using to make your work more efficient, you are using to make your work fast, you are using to automate your processes, the cyber criminals are also using it to attack organization. I can say this, right? I'm sure you are aware of the cyber war between Russia and Ukraine, right? We say it's war, right? But I can also tell you that there's a cyber war between the organization. In fact, cyber war is more terrible compared to the impact of cyber war is more terrifying compared to the impact of using guns and all of that. I can say that over and over again. Do you know that critical infrastructure can be shut down for a nation and they will be left in limbo. People will die. Just imagine in America right now where it's, winter period, where it's cold, very cold, right? The temperature is to the lows, the negatives. So imagine that the critical infrastructure, the grid system, the power system is shut down for one full day in America. Imagine what that impact will be. Just imagine. People will die instantly. The impact of cyber attacks, cyber warfare is gone beyond individuals, it's gone beyond organization. It's been discussed at the global level, even at international level, because the impact is huge. What are the common risks of, unsafe AI generated phishing emails, phishing emails, you see it all over the place. And then social engineering is the first point of contact that cyber criminals use to either steal, identity, credential, or perpetrate their malicious intent by running, unsolicited codes on computers, maybe with ransomware attacks and all of that. They use AI to do these things. With AI generated phishing messages, it can, reach many more people. They can send blast email to many more people, right? So it's important to see the risk associated with the use of AI. Fake videos and videos impersonating people. We talked about this. Data privacy abuse is one of the major, issues. Oversharing personal information with AI tools, right? It's not every information that you must put in the AI tool. I'm saying this over and over again. I know I see what is happening today. People put on their WhatsApp status this caricature thing. I don't know if you people are aware of it, right? They just go to, ChatGPT and say, ChatGPT, can you do a caricature of myself? This is what I do. This is this and that. And they put all of that into the AI engine. When you do that, you're providing data to the AI engine. There are people that have provided confidential business data to AI. As you do that, that data is being stored somewhere and it can easily be, compromised. Cyber criminals can easily have access to it. So it's not everything you put on, on AI engine. You don't go to AI engine and you put your NIN, for instance. Some of you put your BVN, you put very sensitive data in there, your PII, personally identifiable information. You don't put all of those in the AI engine because as you do that, you're diverging very sensitive data about yourself. Right? If you don't have to do it, don't do it. If something looks too perfect or too urgent, pause. Before you respond, think, no, should I respond? Pay attention, just pause. If it's too urgent, pause, right? No, so imagine this, a real life example. You receive a voice note that sounds like your boss or a family member, and they urgently ask for money or sensitive information. What happened? AI voice cloning. The voice of your boss has been cloned. You think the person talking on the other side is actually your boss. He's not. The voice can be cloned. You see how I'm talking now? If you want to recognize me by my voice, right? So I know this is, this is someone, he's the one talking. You have to pay attention to the pause before you respond, right? So you want to verify before you trust. You don't trust. In fact, the framework that is being preached today globally is the zero trust framework, the zero trust principle, where you don't trust anything at all. Before you even say you want to trust, you want to verify, right? And how do you verify? Say, for instance, you'll receive this kind of call, right? The best way to, I've seen people, somebody is trying to, outsmart you or somebody's trying to hack into your system and they chat you on WhatsApp and they say, oh, look, I have this urgency, this and this, send this money to me and all of that. I'm your friend, your colleague sometime or whatever it is. And then you want to verify that person and you are responding on the same chat. And they say, yeah, tell me your name. Or you say, oh, where did we meet? And he's providing us on the same channel. Your verification should be done with another channel. So, for instance, if it's a text that was sent to you, you want to then put a phone call through to the person. You also don't want to even call the person on the same number that they sent the chat to you. You want to call on another number. If there's any other means you can reach the person, or if there's any other person you can reach to then reach that person to verify. So those are some of the examples or strategies that you can adopt. So responsible use of AI, what does it mean? It means that use AI ethically, you protect privacy and data, you avoid harm to others, you know your AI limits. You know your AI limit. AI should assist humans, not replace judgment, not override common sense. This is important to say. AI is artificial intelligence, right? Intelligence cannot match wisdom. AI has to do with machine. Wisdom has to do with human. No matter how efficient AI is, it can only be intelligent and not wise. So understand that. So you cannot give the responsibility of wisdom to AI. No, the responsibility of wisdom lies with human, while the intelligence lies with AI. So you must bring right on top of that intelligence wisdom, right? So do not replace your judgment using AI. Rather, make sure that you are complementing the wisdom that human has with the intelligence that AI brings to the table. I'm going to share more examples as we go into the Q&A for this. Using AI responsibly as individuals, right? You have to be smart, like what we're doing here. We're talking about the smart tech, safe choices at a personal level, right? It's not all the information that you put out there, right? You don't have to do it. And look, let me say this to you. Internet does not forget. You can put it out there. When you're tipsy, it will be used against you. I can say that. Sometimes you see all the things happening in the political terrain in Nigeria today, where people will go and bring old video and say, look, you said this, and you're like, oh, So if you don't have to put it there, don't do it. Don't share sensitive data with AI tools. Verify AI generated information. You want to verify it. When you see verify, use strong passwords and MFA. This is a no-brainer. In fact, it's not just passwords. I always recommend that people use passphrase or pass sentences. Your password can be a phrase. Your password mustn't be your year of birth. It mustn't be your date of birth compared with your year, but that can easily be compromised. That can easily be hacked. Let me even tell you, one of the things that AI has brought on board is that no matter how strong encryption is, they can easily be decrypted. When you have strong passwords, without AI, it might be tough, to compromise that password. But with AI now, it's easier. So make sure that your password is as strong as possible. Use combination of special characters, combination of numbers, use pass phrases, use pass sentences rather than use password. And right on top of your password is MFA, multi-factor authentication, two-factor authentication, right, with OTPs and all of that. I know many of us were on social media, but we don't even have MFA enabled either on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on WhatsApp, on Instagram, all those social media platforms. Go there and do it now. Go there and do it now, because the impact of the compromise can be terrible. And I can give you an example, right? Internet connects everybody together. Do not be the weakest link in that, ecosystem, because compromising your account can lead to the compromising of other people's account. For instance, you can be a member of a WhatsApp group, right? I know many of us, we just join WhatsApp group anyhow. Or people can easily add it to a WhatsApp group. You don't do that. You can enable the future where you cannot be easily added without your permission. They add you to a WhatsApp group and somebody's account in that WhatsApp group is compromised. It can also lead to the compromise of your account. All they need to do is just avert sensitive information from that group, and then you begin to receive unsolicited call with the intention of, data theft or whatever, intent that the cyber criminal had. Be skeptical of urgent requests. It's not every urgent request you want to respond to. You say somebody say, oh, my daughter is in the hospital. In fact, this and this and this, send me this amount of money. People have been, have been a lot of fraud, are being perpetrated, with that. So when it's urgent, pay attention to it. Take a step back and try to verify these things. I'm not saying don't help people, but verify, right? Understand AI limitations. There are limitations of AI. Like we said, AI can only be intelligent. It cannot be wise. Wisdom relies with man, with human. But intelligence is built on AI. In fact, the level of intelligence that is built on AI is dependent on the level of wisdom that man has. The more wisdom from man, the more intelligent AI becomes. Using AI responsibly that work at our businesses, for organizations and professionals, use AI to approve by your organization. In fact, I'm going to say this to ID professionals, right? you should be able to identify, talking about, the cybersecurity team, is not all AI tool that should be used. There are AI tools that are being developed by cyber criminals, and their intention is to harvest sensitive information. So it's not any AI tool you just download and install on your device. It's not every AI tool that can be downloaded on your work devices. No, it's not everything. The company must have an AI policy, AI standard, AI guideline that defines the kind of LLMs, AI tools that can be used organization-wide, even as individuals. Protect customer and employee data. With NDPR today, if you do not protect the data of the nationals of Nigeria as a data custodian, you can't be fined. In fact, you can lose your license as an organization. So as you are collecting all this data, you tell customers to fill form to do this. As you're collecting those data, you have the responsibility to keep the data safe. Avoid blind trust on AI decisions. You don't trust every response that AI gives to you. In fact, one of the things that I tried to do today was I told AI, I said, this event was going to be for 11 a.m. I wanted to be sure what time it is in my own time zone. And I asked AI, I said, what time is it now at that time, right, in Lagos, Nigeria? And it was giving me some time, like, it's ChatGPT I'm talking about now, the common ChatGPT. It gave me a wrong time. Now, imagine if I've used that time. What would have happened? I wouldn't be here. Maybe I would have been planning to be on this call at the wrong time. So it's not every response that you get from AI that you take. And I can tell you something, right? We use AI even in the medical field today. Medical field, you can tell AI, oh, you're feeling these symptoms, you're doing this, and it can prescribe, medications for you. There is AI doctors today. So imagine the AI doctor prescribing medications that are wrong, and you go take those medications. That's a direct impact on life. So it's not every response you see from AI that you just jump at. And I can say this, our children, they use this AI very well. They know it more than you do. So the awareness has to be entrenched even beyond ourselves to our children. With their peers, with their colleagues, they talk about all of these things so that they do not use AI negatively. So train staff on AI risk, train family members on AI risk. Your members of your family, you're as strong as your weakest link. A compromise can come through your children. A compromise can come through your drivers. A compromise can come through your cleaners. A compromise can come through your nannies, because they are not aware of all of these risks that we are talking about. So pay attention to have them trained, pay attention to have them educated. Align with ethics, align with privacy, align with security standard and best practices. Practical safety tips for individuals. Before using AI tools, avoid sharing. I've talked about this. Read privacy settings and permissions. Why using it? Now you are using it. Double check AI generated information. We just talked. I explained that earlier. Do not blindly trust output. AI can tell you lies. AI can give you fake news. AI can give you fake information. Verify important decisions with humans. I've seen people fail their exams because they rely on AI. People fail their quizzes, right? Students, right? You just, maybe your lecturer set up a quiz and then you just go to AI, you copy the entire quiz, you post it into AI and say, give me the answers, and then you go and copy and then paste the answer directly. There are people that have failed. If you want to copyright, copy responsibly, right? It's like the case of, I'm sure we know that, we've seen it everywhere where people copy, they even copy the name of the person they are copying in the examination hall. So he's like that. If that's exactly what you're doing, you and that person, there's no difference. Use strong passwords. I've talked about this. Enable two-factor authentication for business and team. Create clear AI usage policy. Train staff on safe AI practices. Protect customer data. Review AI decision regularly. The key principle is transparency and accountability. Before you click, share or trust, ask these questions. Who created this content? Can it be verified? Does it request personal or financial data? Is there pressure or urgency? Pause is a powerful security tool. Don't be too quick to respond. Pause. Don't be too quick to post that information. Pause. Don't be too quick to share that information. Pause. Opportunity AI brings, if well used, learning new skills, career growth, productivity and creativity, innovation, better customer engagement, competitive advantage, economic growth, inclusion, smarter digital ecosystem. Can we put the second poll? Can we quickly put the second poll? Can you put up the second poll quickly? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Folashade is doing that right away.
Okay, great. Yes. So
is this the poll you're referring to?
no, not the second one.
The one about being a victim of, is it that one?
No, let me just read it out. The second one is okay. I think this is it, correct. Which of these do you think use AI? Yeah. Yeah. So can we get the responses very quickly? So which of this, select all that apply, which of these do you think use AI? And I think we already provided the answers, but let's see what the response will be. Very quickly, in 1 minute, I'll be rounding up just in the next 5 minutes. Let's quickly provide the responses. Which of these do we think uses AI? Okay, another 30 seconds. Another 30 seconds very quickly. And the reason why we're asking this question is because I'm sure we all use Google search. We all are on social media. We have social media feeds all over the place. I'm sure you have Netflix, you have YouTube, filters on phones, the Siri, Alexa, and all of that. Okay, so can we have the responses? Can we have the responses quickly? Great, 89% uses. Okay, I like that the not sure is 0, which is good. Oh, Google search 96% says this. Netflix 81%. Wow, 80%, 90%. This is good response. Wow. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Thank you. Okay, so the key takeaways. By now, you should understand these few things. AI in simple terms, right? And now I'm sure during Q&A, there's a lot we'll talk about, right? AI in simple terms. Recognize AI-related online risk. We've talked about that. Know how to use AI responsibly. See opportunities that AI provides. I want to say this. There is a lot of opportunity that AI provides for you, even with your work. With AI, you can use AI as, assistants, PAs, right? Personal assistant and AI agent can be your PA, right? Organizing your meetings, sharing your meeting minutes, the outcome of the meetings. And you see all of that even on Copilot, ChatGPT, that is all over the place. And let me say this, no human can do it better than AI. AI will do it fast. It will be fast. You can't be as fast as what AI will provide. AI will give a lot more insight than you as an individual will do. And do you know why? Because AI doesn't have emotions. AI is a machine, but you have emotions. Maybe if you're not happy with your spouse, you bring that baggage into developing that, meeting minutes, and then you can begin to write all sorts of things. Or you are not even happy with your boss. But AI cannot say, I'm not happy with my boss, right? AI will only do what you ask it to do, and it will do it perfectly. It doesn't bring the baggage of emotion into the table, right? So see AI as an opportunity. Write those emails with AI. Do that presentation slide with AI. Use it. But you just have to use it responsibly. To be faster, it's more efficient. Nobody can match it. And I'll give a typical example. I know in the banking industry, before now, we used to have tellers all over the place. Tellers all over the place. But in the banking halls today, you won't see tellers. But you will see ATM machines, right? ATMs have taken the jobs of tellers. So those tellers then, I will say, oh, I will not adjust my skill set. I will not do this. I want to remain as I am. They don't want to change with the evolution of AI or with the evolution of technology. they are obviously either going to lose their job or they will find themselves not suitable to take on jobs. So you must see the opportunity that AI provides. So you want to learn it, you want to adopt it, you want to utilize it, you want to also use it as it comes. So feel empowered to make safer digital choices. And I think we're empowered to do that. The final thought, smart tech requires smart choices. AI is a tool, not a replacement for wisdom. I've said that over and over again. Safety is everyone's responsibility. It's not only the cybersecurity team, every one of us. Cybersecurity is our responsibility. Responsible digital citizens build a safer internet. Thank you. But before we go, can we have the last poll? The last poll. The last poll. The last poll, that's the third one. And I would like to see our responses to that, the third poll. The final poll, it says, after today's session, will you change how you use AI? Can I see your answers? Yes, I will be more cautious. Yes, I will verify outputs. No, I don't see major risk. I need to learn more. Can I see your responses? I see your responses. Give it 1 more minute, 2 minutes, so that we can go straight into the questions and answer.
So if you have questions, you can use this opportunity to drop them in the Q&A section of the Zoom application. You would see the icon on the interface, Q&A. If you open that, you can drop your questions so we can read them out to the speakers,
So
the
can we have the
panelists.
answers to the poll? Thank you so much. Whoa. 70%. I like, yes, 21%. I will verify outputs. No, I don't see major risk. Wow, 1%. Somebody said major risk. That's interesting. With all we said. I hope you didn't pick that response in error, right? And I hope that response wasn't an impact of the irresponsible use of it. I need to learn more. I like this last response. Yeah, learn more, right? There's a lot to learn. Thank you so much. I will then hand it over to Akitunde. Thank you for this opportunity, and I'm sure that you've learned one or two things. So we'll go straight into the question and answers. Thank you.
Dr. Samuel, thank you very much for the presentation. You can see the reaction on the screen. People are applauding the presentation. Thank you so much. And for the sacrifice, because I know this is very early for you. You're like 7 hours behind us. So you have said a number of things that we need to discuss further. I'm sure that we already have like 5 questions that I've dropped. I'll get to them. While you were presenting, you said something that reminded me of the one of the codes of the Italian mob in the early days of the United States. They used to say that trust but verify. But in this case, you are telling us to verify even before we trust at all, right? Can you hear me, Dr. Samuel?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so let's start with deep fakes because that's scary. Deep fakes. So you used an example. You gave an example that I was going to talk about Senator Shiomole, who had denied that he wasn't the one in the private jet massaging the feet of a South African YouTuber, right? And when I saw that video, the first thing that I said was, it is now extremely difficult for us to even know what is false and what is true, right? So, for example, if that is actually him doing that, it's difficult for some of us to verify if he's the one doing that or if that is actually a deep fake. I also saw another video this week of the former minister of finance and economy in Nigeria, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. She was refuting a video of her calling on people to invest 380,000 naira and earn 2 point something million naira on a weekly basis, right? And I watched the video. It was heart talking. It sounded very much like all the words were coming out from my mouth, talking about AI voice cloning. We also have video cloning. How do ordinary people, how do we see deep fakes, right? And verify if they are genuine or not? How do we track them? How do we catch those kind of deep fakes in order not to fall victim of those things?
Yeah. Wow, that's a very beautiful question to ask. And it's also important, right? So that you're sure that you're not, you are not taking in fake news, or you're not acting based on fake news, right? So the importance of verification cannot be overemphasized. I think the first thing you want to check is, what is the source? Where is the source of that information? Right? Who is generating it, right? And then there are some, platforms, right, that can post information that can suggest that this is true to you, right? It's not everything you see on blogs today that you say, oh, it's true, right? Because the truth is, the guys that are putting that on the blog, what's their intent? Their intent is to get likes, comments, and they want to make money from it, right? So, because that's their intent, if they see data or information that will attract likes and comment, they'll put it out there. They don't care whether it's true or not. So you as an individual, you want to verify, what is the source of this information? Where is it coming from? Who is posting it? Right? And then you can also have your reliable source of data and information. Even amongst the blogs, right? There are some that you can say these ones are credible. I'm not going to tell you this is credible. I won't say that, right? For some reasons, right? But you can say, oh, I can trust when data is coming from the source, even from news platforms. You can say, oh, when it comes from this channel, it can't be trusted and all of that. That is one way, you want to, prove credibility of that information that you're getting. Who created it? Who is disseminating it? Where is it coming out from? Who is sharing it? Because the credibility of that who matters a lot. You also want to check, the evidence that comes with it. What are the evidence that comes with that information, right? Well, like you said, and like we said clearly, deepfake, there's a thin line, between knowing the real and the fake, right? It's so thin because, like I said earlier, my voice can be cloned, my video can be cloned, and you would look like I'm the one, right? The other thing you also want to do is, if you can have access to the person, you want to also verify from that person, right? Maybe you see a video of me now today, right? And then you see of me being posted as, oh, I did this, I did that. You want to put a call through to me to say, oh, did you do this? And then if there's an element of trust, you can trust that, oh, I'll tell you the truth. You want to do that, right? So those are the things. And also there are electronic ways, right? But I don't want to go deep into the electronic ways, because that won't make sense to the layman, because there are ways you can actually validate, those information by checking for some, defect changes, to the data. You could check logs, system logs, you could check information logs and all of that, but that can be a complex way. But these are, traditional ways that layman can actually, verify this information before they can trust it.
Thank you very much. So I'll go to Mr. Najite now. He's been waiting patiently. Are you there, Mr. Najite?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
So the question I'm about to ask is similar to the one I asked him. How can people identify AI generated misinformation? How can we track that? Because that's a major challenge that we have now. First, in terms of what the media pushes, including all kinds of media on the different social media platforms. And then people will also try to take advantage of people with things like voice cloning, video cloning, and all of that. How are we able to track AI generated falsehood or misinformation? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that excellent question. To be honest, I think it's increasingly difficult. It used to be a lot easier with the advancement of generative AI. And in the past, when you see an image generated from AI tools, AI image generation tools, you could tell there will be deformity in the face, the eyes, and AI tools typically struggle with fingers and motion. But recent advancement has made it so difficult, and you really have to have an eye for detail in order to catch a lot of these things. And unfortunately, many of us are very quick to react. And Dr. Samuel did say that before you react, you have to stop and then you actually process and think, which is the human factor. And then finally, you make the judgment by verifying the source of that data. Now, what I would advise alongside, just to add to what the Samuel shared, is that we have multi-factor authentication for most of our applications. I would think that and suggest to people, families, to also try to apply that as individuals to themselves and people in their close cycles. So it's not sufficient anymore to believe that a phone call is from the original person or a video, right? So what I would think that people should do, families should do, in fact, I have that, is to, among yourself, just generate a code, and then when you have these deep fakes and somebody is asking for sensitive information and it sounds like you could easily say, okay, this code or this question that is known only to us as a cycle, as a company, or as a group of people in business, can you tell me what that code is? And typically, since that information is exclusive, it will be very difficult. In short, you will have an avoidance tactic where the person will try to delay answering the question or try to challenge you for asking them that question. So you just have to make that effort to protect yourself, knowing fully well the times that we are now, where it's very, very difficult to identify. But if you do have a keen eye for detail, you would catch AI-generated content if you actually have. But since we are responsible and we have to be responsible, the best thing to do is not to very quickly hit the share button. The first thing to do is to, when the information is too sensitive and private, or it's too urgent, demanding for quick action, you really have to pause, stop, and validate that information. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I'll come back to you shortly. There's a question I want you to look at, Dr. Samuel, from an audience. So you mentioned earlier that we now have AI-enabled malwares. That was very scary when you said it, right? This is your field. This is what you do on a daily basis. What tools are out there that helps people combat this kind of threats?
Oh, that's a very brilliant question. And I want to say thank you to Najite for that very elaborate response he gave earlier. Talking about, combating AI-enabled malware. That then comes from the aspect of using AI-enabled anti-malware. Human cannot match AI. I've said that over and over again. Human cannot. So you have to also leverage on AI in designing your defense system and defense mechanism. So you want to make sure that you have the right anti-malware running on your devices, right? You want to make sure that your devices are updated, they have the latest patches, right? For instance, as long as that device is connected to the internet, it's also exposed to all this cyber crime that we've talked about. Your television set at home, you need to make sure that it's updated regularly. The version has to be updated regularly. There are new updates that have security patches that comes with them. They have, security that comes with those new updates. Make sure that they are updated regularly. Your mobile devices, if you use a smartphone, make sure you update them regularly. So there are defense mechanisms that comes with those updates, right? So that's from an individual perspective, right? From a corporate perspective, you want to make sure that you have the right defense in-depth mechanism in place, right? Your controls must be complementary. As much as you are controlling from the perimeter, you also want to make sure that the endpoint, you have the right controls, the right, anti-malware solutions, the right EDRs, the endpoint detection and response. You also want to make sure that you have matured your cyber resilience program within the organization. You have the right incident response plan in place. You have all of that. So those are ways. It's not one thing you do, but it's something you do across multiple areas, across multiple opportunities. And I'll give a typical example. Say in your home, right? You say because your gates, right, is short, right? You've locked your gates. That doesn't mean the door to your room should be left wide open, right? So that's why controls are complementary. Your gate man can be compromised. He's human. Right? So your defense mechanism has to be complementary. It has to be defense in depth. So you have to think about it, right? So while you're putting the defense at the perimeter side, you're also making sure that the endpoint themselves, the individuals, are adequately protected. And like I said, your cleaners, there are syndicate groups today, organized crimes, right, that they've used cleaners to perpetrate malicious intent in homes, right? You want to make sure that you do background check on them. Your drivers, you do background check on them. It's not everybody that's employable. Just make sure you do, and you don't do it once, you do it regularly, because the human being can change, right? Somebody can easily be compromised. Maybe they've not seen the kind of, motivation before, but when they see that kind of motivation, they can do anything. So you don't, even your drivers, you don't trust them. You don't trust everybody. You don't just throw your trust away, right? You want to make sure that you verify. So those are mechanisms. So I said a few things, right? Leverage on AI defense mechanism as well to match the AI enabled malwares, right? And some of the ways you can do it is when you want to, purchase an anti-malware or what you typically call an antivirus. You want to also see what AI programs, what AI features, what AI capabilities come with this anti-malware, so that you're sure that the company that is designing this anti-malware, they're also forward thinking, right? As technology is evolving, they are adopting those recent technology, because cyber criminals are taking advantage in an unethical manner of those evolution. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Samuel, for that answer. So, Najisa, I'm coming back to you, right? Um, it's a similar question that I asked him. Are there tools? So today there are free AI tools, and anything that is free, to an extent, freaks me out, right? But we have a question from one of the audience who is asking that, is ChatGPT and Grok safe? Tools like that. This is probably a question that I would have asked too, because these are free tools, at least the basic features of these tools. What do you think about, and how do you think we can use them responsibly?
All right, thank you for that question that was asked. I think it's a very intelligent question. My suggestion would be that we have to seek and learn about how things work before we start to use them. That's something that a lot of people don't do. They quickly jump on trends, they quickly jump on apps, they quickly sign up for different applications without even knowing if it's safe for use. So the general concept of AI basically is that it is trained on data, right? Meaning that you, by getting engaged in that platform, are actually not only using it for your benefit, but you are also indirectly training the model for the general benefit of others indirectly. So first of all, I mean, I'm not sure to answer directly if ChatGPT is safe, but I would think so. I believe it's quite safe because it's from a company that has a lot of, I mean, a sound integrity and backing. It's not just an unknown entity. I see a lot of people pushing free alternatives, you know, and I also see a lot of people trying to share premium accounts by creating websites where you log in and they claim it's giving you the same access as those on the official website. So we have to be a bit careful about that. We really, really have to be careful about that. Now, you can increase your level of safety and protection. I think that the first thing you do when you sign up for this application, first of all, be sure that it's a recognizable link and you are registering on the official website of the app. The first thing to do is actually to go to settings. That's what I typically do. And there's usually a subtool clause there that allows you to turn off whether your data can be used to train the model or not. I would typically advise that we turn that off very quickly because otherwise your engagement and interactions will automatically be saved and stored and used as part of the ecosystem. So when you do that, that gives you some level of protection. Then the second thing is with the knowledge that this model is basically trained, is not a source of truth, it's basically trained on the information that is being fed into. You really have to be careful about what you put in. I would typically not even put sensitive data in any of these tools. Even if I have to put something that is close to it, I would use fictitious names, fictitious identities and fictitious narratives because I would now take charge of that conversion. You know, so I always advocate that the workflow should be human and then AI and then back to human. But it's not a workflow of AI and then AI, you know, so you really have to take charge of the narrative of the input, use AI to accelerate the tasks, and then finally the output, you really have to take charge of interpreting and then curating what the final output would be. So yes, the top LLMs, what we call large language models, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, they are typically safe because of the companies backing them. So you would really want to go to the official website to engage in those tools, but then quickly go to settings, manage. I think even some of them now have parental controls. So not just for you, but for your family, create accounts for your kids that are safer by enabling parental controls. That would limit the kind of input and inputs that they can generate. So that would be my advice. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Najite. Did you see the video that Senator Oshiomhole denied? Did you see that video?
I heard the news, but
Yeah.
I did not pay too much attention to video. It's just scrolled on my feed, so I saw it and I moved on.
Let's get your opinion. Dr. Samuel, what's your opinion of that video? Is it him in that video or it's AI? Because I fear that judgment becomes extremely difficult now. People can actually commit crime and then say, it's not me, it's AI, right? So, I
Yeah.
mean, what do you think when you saw the video? Were you able to
Look,
detect what was
yeah,
going on?
yeah. I'm going to answer that question this way, right? My opinion, right? I don't want my opinion to impact anybody's opinion or decision about it, right? So I'm careful what I say about it. Right. But if there's any, court case about it, right, it's left for the court to do some forensic analysis on the data, on the information to actually prove, the eligibility of that data, right, the accuracy of that data, and also try to prove, the integrity, of that information that is put out there. But I wouldn't want to, talk about it. And again, let me also say this, in law courts today, right, electronic evidence are now admissible, right, over the years. So when electronic evidence are provided in courts, there are forensic analyses that are done to actually prove the credibility of those information or those data, and then it can be used. So I wouldn't want to just say, oh, he's the one, he's not the one. No, I'm not a politician. Thank you.
Yeah, but you touched on what I actually wanted you to mention, which is
Yeah,
forensic analysis. So
yeah,
that exists, right? There are
yes,
tools that can be used to audit deepfakes to determine whether they are false or accurate.
correct. Yeah, and then there are, you know, organizations, individuals, they are forensic experts, right? That can actually, look at the data, do some deep analysis on those information to actually prove their integrity, right? To be sure that the data has not been infiltrated, it hasn't been changed, or it is, the real personality that is posed in that, video is that person. There are a lot of, indices that can be used, right? There are authentication systems like, biometrics, the face recognition of the person in there, right? The retina, the thumb print, the thumb, there is a lot that can be used to actually prove that it's the one. So sometimes what they do is when they analyze those data, they bring him side by side, on the other side, and then try to match the analyzed data against each person. And then when there is, a validation that, look, this data and this person is the same person, they can actually prove it. So by looking physically, you cannot. You can't. So let's be very cautious how, we put those things out. And again, it can also be used on the other side. And that's one of the terrible things with AI that I was saying, this deepfake, right? It can even be the one that they say is not the one, and that is where if you really, really want to hold him to it, that go to court, right? Let's go to court. And I'm sure the court will do the due diligence and they will validate if he's the one or not.
Yeah, maybe the justice system in the United States, Nigeria, I'm not so sure, but let's move on. Um, there's a question here that says, what other AI LLMs are good for a cybersecurity analyst? I'm sure that means large language models. Najita, do you want to take that?
I would defer to Samuel, who is the cybersecurity expert.
Okay, come on,
Yeah.
let's do that first. Then we'll come
Yeah,
to Najita.
so yeah, I think the traditional ones that we've mentioned, the Gemini, the ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot is also amazing. There is a lot you can do with those AI engines from a cybersecurity, space. You can use them to build threat modeling, threat models, right, for different architectures and design, right? For instance, if you have a network architecture, right, like a network design, and I'm sure Najite can easily relate to this, you take that design, you feed it into, ChatGPT, and you tell it to do a threat modeling of that design. It will bring out the output for you and show you where, the risks are, from that design. Now we're talking a lot about DevSecOps, embedding security into the development process. Security should not be an afterthought. And it's important to say this. Security should be by design. So while you're designing whatever system you're designing, security should be at the heart of it at that time. It shouldn't be an afterthought, right? So with all this LLMs, I talked about Copilot, ChatGPT, and all of that. You can actually do threat modeling analysis from it. You can also run some vulnerability, management, vulnerability using AI, right? You can run some vulnerability assessment, VAPT, vulnerability assessment and penetration testing with AI, where, you take a code that has been designed and then it will tell you, the vulnerabilities within those codes, right? It can show you if sensitive information are being put in there, if the encryption that is being used is not secure enough, maybe they are using weak ciphers, weak algorithms, and all of that. So as a cybersecurity professional, you can leverage on these tools. I've said it here and I'll keep saying it. Use AI, use it. It makes your work easier, but make sure you use it responsibly. And I like, one of the points that Najite did make, right? Use fictitious data. You don't want to put in, I've seen people, right? They want to do data analysis, right? Of a company's financial information, right? Or their financial data. They just put in the entire, customers' information. They just feed it into AI. And then once you fed it into AI, he's gone. There's a word we say, Otilo. It's gone. Right? You can't retrieve it back. Right? In fact, cyber criminals, I'm sure you've heard of malwares, you've heard of okay, I talked about malwares and anti-malwares earlier. You've heard about ransomware attacks, right? How do they do this ransomware? You'll see cyber criminals have your data, and they will tell you they are going to leak this information on the internet, and they begin to threaten you. They begin to negotiate with you that if you don't want them to post it out there, pay them some money. That's a ransomware attack. And that is because you have divulged sensitive information of your customer on the internet. Because when those data are exposed, NDPR will come after you as an organization. So you don't want that. So you want to play some cautions and all of that. So like I said earlier, ChatGPT is good, Copilot is good, but fundamentally use the company approved AI engine. Companies today have approved AI engine. Like I've worked in so many organizations, I've done a lot of analysis for them, and they will agree that this is the engine we'll use. We will not use any other one. This is the LLM we'll use. This is, aside, for instance, say ChatGPT, we don't use anything. Aside Copilot, we will not use any other one. And they stay with it, right? And that also brings some sort of control, So I'll just pause there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sam. So Najite, I'm coming back to you. Recently, I heard Trevor Noah said that Africans, well, not Africans, but people who live in Africa are have more positive attitude and disposition towards AI than the rest of the world, especially the Western world. Some people have argued that it's because Africans are embracing it as a tool that puts them in equal footing with the rest of the world, right? But some people have also argued that it's because Africans are not fully aware of the risk that is involved, right? Do you think that the skepticism of the West is justified? And what do you think can be done to bridge the knowledge gap that exists in Africa if that argument is actually correct?
Okay, thank you. I haven't listened to that post by Trevor Noah, but I would probably align with it because I think Africa has the greatest population of young people. And if you look at the frenzy around social media and AI and how easy it is now to engage on the social platforms, then there's a bigger alignment with people of that demographic, which are the young people. So he's probably very correct. And as Dr. Samuel said, the data generated in the last 2 years is more than since existence of humanity. So if the data is now showing that the numbers are coming from Africa, I can only imagine how much higher is going to be the divide in the coming years as issues like broadband penetration and issues like easy access to cheap or affordable devices becomes that gap becomes reduced. So it's only going to be increasingly higher. Our population is even getting even higher in this continent. So, and in this country. So I would think that I fully align with that. And it is even going to get higher. So I'm not on the side of arguing against it. I see that young people on this continent are increasingly going to adopt technology, adopt devices that leverage technology, and adopt AI to not only generate, but to actually consume. We are huge consumers of content, and people of all demography, WhatsApp, Facebook, TikTok now, we're huge consumers. So it's really going to increase. And we even have creators now that are becoming increasingly dense. So the creator economy is booming in this side. So the answer is yes, I agree. And if we do have young people around us, our role is really to offer guided empowerment, not just to empower them and educate them, but it has to be guided. They may not have the knowledge to know about the dangers about some of these technologies, but we can offer that guidance. We can engage and ask them what tools, if they are aware, and what tools they have, what apps they have on their phone, and then offer a lot of guidance in terms of protecting, and even as they navigate through technology, we can play a role in that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Samuel, do you want to take a stab at that question too?
Yeah, I totally align with what Najita has said. Those are really wonderful points, and I actually align with those. Just to also emphasize the fact that the volume is coming from Africa because of the teeming population that we have, from the demography of the young people, the Gen Zs and all those guys. They are more, tech savvy because they are born into the tech generation, right? Most of us, I know the first time I did I saw a computer, it was when I was in the university. Right, the first time but my 2-year-old daughter, she plays with gadgets like, they are born into that generation, right? And then Africa has that teeming population. So obviously a lot of, data will be coming out of the African continent. And it also builds on us as Africa to do a lot of literacy, which is why this kind of session is a welcome idea. Right. And then we also want to target this, cyber safe internet use literacy to the young ones. We want to catch them young. Right. How do we do that? Go into the schools, the primary schools. They can also embed cybersecurity, cyber risk into their curriculum. Those are ways, to help, with this awareness. Secondary school, we don't have to wait for them to choose cybersecurity as a career path before they become aware of this threats that we are talking about. And also in homes, in religious organizations, everywhere. Let's take advantage of that. So that as the volume of data is being generated from Africa, we are also ensuring that Africa is using AI more responsibly, and then there are also regulations around use, right? I see a lot of, regulations coming, with the best use for AI, right? Enforcing those regulations, defining those policies, aligning with those policies are also very fundamental. Thank you so much.
So thank you very much for that response. An aspect of that question have to do with Africans' recognition of the threats that are bound. So recently, I saw an interview of Kamala Harris, right, with Stephen Colbert, and she was telling him that she sat in some of the as the vice president of the U.S. She sat in some of the security meetings, and that she learned in one of those meetings that it is actually not safe to use wireless headphones. That people can tap into it and listen to conversations. I was hearing that for the first time. And she was recommending on that program that people should continue using headphones with cords, right? So that made me recognize that there are threats out there that people are not even aware of. And I think that that's probably one of the challenges that Africans have. I don't know if you want to expatiate on that, if you want to talk about that. That is the
Yeah.
recognition of different threats that people may not even be aware of at all.
Yeah, so and that's it's like talking about the wired and the wireless technology, right? Obviously, like we keep saying, evolution of technology is to enhance the use of technology, right? And coming with that is the security risk and exposure. Like AI has come on board now, it has expanded, the threats landscape. It has expanded the attack surface, and that is what these technologies do. When it was wired, it's a different ball game than when it's wireless. So you have to start thinking of how to ensure that the wireless communication have the right security in place, the right encryption, the channel of communication. You want to ensure that you have the right encryption algorithm. Not just having any encryption is enough, right? With quantum computing today, you see that those very strong encryption can easily be, decrypted with QC, quantum technology, right? So as this wireless comes on board against the wired, he also has those inherent security issues that comes with it, right? So she's absolutely right. It's not just wired against wireless. It's all about new technologies against the old technology, because the newer technology brings on board inherent cyber risks that they come with. I also want to say this, right? According to the World Economic Forum, that is WEF, cyber risk has consistently been the number 2 risk, area that nationally, globally, from industry perspective, businesses, organization, boards are always discussing. It comes just under climate change. After climate change risk, the next risk that is being looked at every level right now is cyber risk. So paying attention to it is very important. I also want to say to people here, right, if you're listening to me and then you want to take on cybersecurity as a profession, I want to say to you that it's very lucrative. The opportunities are there. There's a lot to do with it, but don't just add to the number. Make sure you're bringing value to the table. It's not enough to say I'm a cybersecurity professional. Make sure you have the right skill set, and then you are aligning your skill set with the trend, right? Very, very fundamental. You are aligning your skill set, because what happens is there are some cybersecurity roles today that are getting into extent that AI will do it. AI will run it easily. I've said it before and I'm saying it again. No human being can match the speed of AI. So don't compete with AI. Rather, think of ways you can upskill, you can unlearn, relearn, and you can unlearn, learn, and relearn to align your skill set with the trend. Remember when ATMs came up, those tellers, when ATMs came up in the bank, those tellers that refused to become ATM custodians, they lost their job. So as ATM comes up, it comes with newer opportunities, newer roles, newer functions like the ATM custodian. So you can then upskill to become an ATM custodian. So I wanted to put that out there. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Samuel. Majite, this for you. I'm reading this out from one of the questions from the audience. Is it true that there are tools used to check if an information is AI generated? Like, are there tools that can help detect if an output? I think this person is worried that if they generate something and submit it, someone might detect that it was AI generated. Are there tools that can help, that has this kind of capability?
Thank you. The answer is yes. And I'm aware that some of the big giants that have platforms that are monetized or monetizable are leveraging these tools to check and regulate spam content. We're in the creator economy now, where if you can create content, no matter the volume, you will get monetized and you get compensated. I mean, let's just talk compensation and monetization now. However, if it's a robot that is generating this at an unusually high frequency, then it has to be checked. So recently, YouTube carried out or embarked on a large-scale demonetization campaign, and a lot of channels were wiped off. And what I learned having studied that event, is that they use AI tools. Okay, so it's actually AI that is best to detect AI, not human. You can only try, but right now it is AI that can detect AI. So these companies invest in AI tools to carry out those checks. Another example I want to give is in the music industry and in the music space, where a lot of people are farming views with AI. Okay, so you have a song generated by AI or generated by a certain artist, and you would think that it is actual humans that are listening to this song, but it is not. People are farming views, in order to gain an economic advantage. So these platforms, the likes of Spotify and co, have now also invested in AI tools on the back end to detect, okay, that this is not human. So human effort cannot be relegated to the background. I'm actually glad when I see some of these initiatives by these big companies. So they are not just profit driven, otherwise they will not care. But they are after the integrity of their platform, and they want to retain as much as possible the originality of the human input, or can human efforts. Okay, so the short answer is yes. The human eye can only catch so much. Like I said, there were initial challenges and it was so easy to detect. If you look at the eyes of a generated image, if you look at the hands, you can tell. If you look at the deformities in the environment and how the character blends in that environment, you could tell that this is not real. If you look at the facial features, it's too perfect. No human being is that perfect, and then it was so easy, it could be easier to actually detect, but now there's a lot of improvements. So how far do you want to go with human detection? So I think that yes, tools are very important. You also have tools for plagiarism. When students use AI to do assignments and exam. So AI tools come in to detect as much as possible. Some of them are they carry out so much scrutiny that even when you write on your own, they tell you that you use AI, So, the short answer is yes. Have I used such tools? No. But I think that if the person asks that question is concerned, he will definitely find a solution out there to help to carry out that detection. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Najite. So one last question, and I'd like the two of you to take this question. It's not all gloom and doom. There are opportunities that AI offer, and I would just like you to talk about that briefly. Um, I I continue to see adverts on my phone about how AI will generate more millionaires in 5 years than the internet did in 20 years. I don't know if you guys have been seeing these ads, but I see them a lot. I'd like you guys to talk briefly about the opportunities that abound, and then we can bring the um, webinar to a close.
Okay, I'll give it a shot. Just before I respond to that, I also want to say that sometimes you see people, they try to trick the AI engines, right? Try to tell the AI to give you data, right? And then you ask that the AI should humanize it. Right? And then AI, you then take it that way. I think, there's a lot of transparency, right, that is being developed as models and protocols in the internet, right? As much as you're getting that data from AI, AI can also detect that this is from AI, no matter how you try to tweak it. So it's important to say that. Like Najite said, there are some tools like the Turnitin. You see that they use it a lot to check, plagiarism, in schools and all of that. You also have GPT-0 that can also, you can use as a tool to determine if an information is coming from, AI. You have originality.ai. You can also use that. There are a couple of, of others. Now, the question now, AI is generating millionaires. Yes, I would say a very, emphatic yes to that, because every technology evolution comes with the opportunity when it is rightly used. And I will tell you something, in the demand for knowledge space, or in the economy for knowledge space, is a matter of demand and supply, right? And right now, there are limited AI engineers, for instance. There are limited AI programmers, AI trainers, right? And because of that limited, number of people that are in that space, they pay them a lot of money, right, to operate in that space. So it's obviously correct. I don't know if you've seen, the kind of money that, the millionaires, the big tech companies are throwing at AI engineers. They pay them like they pay footballers. Footballers, right? They pay them as like the kind of money they pay footballers. So there's a lot of money in it, right? There's a lot of, but again, is it going to be there forever? You know how it is with the evolution of technology. When it proliferates so fast, so quick, you then begin to see a lot of people in that space. Another trendy technology will come up, and those that are prepared for it can easily cash out, because they have the right skill sets. So the real deal is this: continue to upskill, continue to learn, continue to take advantage of the opportunities so that you can bring value to the table. So I totally, agree with that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And with that, we've come to the end of the webinar. Um, yeah, Majid, have you said something about this opportunity? I was going to give you.
Okay, I could just add a little.
Okay.
So the more information out there, the more or the higher or the greater the need for education. Okay, so a lot of people are in the education space or education niche now. Whatever knowledge you have, so long as it's even 20% more than what the general population may not know, you can become valuable in terms of someone that can generate education collateral and monetize that. So a lot of Nigerians are currently creators, I call them value creators, because they share knowledge. A lot of people are still in their need of economic upliftment, health, and entertainment. So when you create these contents, and AI has now made it so easy to generate content, you monetize that, and then it boosts that economy. Now, the second thing I want to talk about in terms of empowerment from AI is in how easy it has become to start a business, to launch a business. Existing businesses leverage AI for customer service, for automations, using agents to automate workflows, to even build applications, build websites. So technology has come. AI technology is here to enhance and help the work that you do, actually to enhance tasks and make those tasks more efficient and scale very, very fast. And the moment we're in a moment of unprecedented opportunity. You could start a business overnight. You could launch a website, launch your social media overnight, and start to target communications and marketing to a specific audience, just even sitting in your home. So the answer is yes. The answer to that question is yes. There is tremendous economic opportunity right now by leveraging AI. And I did read somewhere, that's, it's not verifiable, that the future would really be for those that are either creating the infrastructure for the internet, or those that are creating content or education for that. So, I mean, I'm sure we can make use of that information anyhow we want to. So for young people, I think that these two areas or two or three areas that I've highlighted are very, very important. And then for people that are already well established, you want to launch a business, you can do this very, very easily now by leveraging these tools and platforms, and then existing businesses can also leverage AI to actually automate and scale very, very quickly. You don't have to have people 24/7. You can have a lot of automation at the call center and inquiry at different stages of your business. So that would be my answer to that question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Najisa. That's a robust response. I think you have given enough, both yourself and Dr. Sama have given enough insight into how people can leverage AI to advance their career, to start business and all of that. Thank you very much. So with that, we've come to the end of the webinar. We have actually advertised that we would issue certificate of attendance. We are going to send you that. We have your details already if you registered. And if you attended the session, so you would get your certificate after this. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining. Dr. Sam, there's a question about your contact, how you can be reached. So I would allow, before you answer that, I will allow Inoma to give a closing remark. If you want to share your contact details and all of that, your handles, people who need that can stay back to hear that, but after the closing remark. So Inoma, please go ahead.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today for this Safer Internet Day webinar. It was a pleasure having you in the room with us as we explored the safe and responsible use of AI. We hope that you found, interesting insights from Dr. Samuel Mbonu and from our Divisional CEO Managed Services, Najite Kutebe. We hope you found, their insights both practicable and empowering as you navigate the evolving world of smart technology. We'll urge you to follow us on all of our channels for more updates on cybersecurity and, future webinars that we intend to have. Our email address that you can easily reach us on for inquiries and feedback is support@ipnxnigeria.net. Our WhatsApp number is 0902-725-7455. We're going to drop that in the Q&A box as well. On Twitter, you can reach us at ipNX Twitter, now X, and also at ipNX Support. Our Facebook is ipNX Nigeria Limited, and our Instagram is at ipNX Nigeria. And a special thank you to you, Aketunde, for facilitating such a dynamic session. It's always a pleasure having you on these webinars. Stay safe and stay technologically savvy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Inoma. Well appreciated. So, Dr. Sam, they need your contact details.
Yeah, thank you so much. This is really amazing. I'm excited, doing this. Thank you, Najite. Those are very insightful, wonderful. So you can reach me on LinkedIn. I'm very active there. And then if you search, just search my name, Samuel Mbonu, you'll see me there, I'm sure. Or you want to search me using an AI tool. You can search for me there. Just tell ChatGPT who is Dr. Samuel Mbonu. I'm sure it will tell you a lot, and you'll see how you can reach me. Yes, please do reach out. I'm excited doing this. I do cybersecurity evangelism all over the world. This is what I love to do. So thank you for this opportunity, ipNX team. I really appreciate it. I cannot overemphasize the appreciation. So see you guys soon. See you on LinkedIn. And then we'll take it off from there. Thank you.
I thought you would drop your home address.
That's confidential.
So we can dox you. Yeah, but thank you very much, Dr. Sam, for coming. It's highly appreciated.
Yeah, I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Thank you, guys. And bye for now. Have a great one.
Yeah. I'm not sure we're able